Okay, it looks like we are up and running with Zoom recording and YouTube. So I'll open the meeting, 6:35. Robin, let's do a roll call.
All right. Colby,
Here.
Catherine,
Here.
Arthur,
Here.
Robin, I'm here, and Nick. I don't see Nick.
No. Excuse. Okay. We'll start with a public forum. Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan.
I need one moment to unmute when there's a delay. That's what's going on. Thank you very much. I'd like to take this chance in the public forum to talk about the Plum Committee. It's not on the agenda. Some time ago, I wrote to a board member, to Colby, about what's been going on in the Plum Planning Land Use Committee. My perceptions was that it was disorganized, that the chair was unprepared for the meetings, that they were inefficient, that board members were being disagreeable with each other because it was so clumsy and so malorganized, that the chair was not responsive to questions that were posed, very evasive. I've actually seen the chair use one of the meetings as an infomercial for Beautification Partners, which is certainly inappropriate, if not at worst illegal. I recommend that you take the time and review some of these meetings that are recorded so you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. Disclosures are necessary and we're not forthcoming. In any case, there was a meeting last night and it was just another replay of this dysfunctionality where there was actually some form of hostility, comments that were inappropriate towards stakeholders, toward economizing on the already limited time of a stakeholder, as well as some words that could have been foregone, inappropriate, but spawned by the atmosphere. In any case, I recommend that you take a look at what occurred on yesterday's meeting, meaning look at the recording. It used to be a problem in this committee, but since I've already communicated the problem to Colby and it continues not to be on the agenda of this meeting, where it could be handled with some degree of discretion, it's not. So it's just going on, and that becomes by default Colby's responsibility. This is an enabling. And there clearly is some agenda other than serving the needs of the stakeholders. There's a reason this is happening, and it's up to anybody to develop it in their own head what that reason or two reasons are. But it is clear to me what's going on. People aren't stupid, so that you're enabling this to continue. There are committee members in that meeting that are very intelligent and very prepared to do their job, and it isn't happening because of the chair. He's not prepared. There aren't minutes. There's not even case numbers. Despite all of the repeated requests, it's so fundamentally inept, and you're enabling it. So I wanted to take this opportunity at public forum because it's very limited what a stakeholder can, when a stakeholder can speak and what they can say. And remember, there's no rebuttals going on. So just because you have the last word doesn't mean there isn't a valid rebuttal to what you say or you think. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jonathan. Next up, we have, I saw Fred Barry's hand. Actually, we're going to say Fred. Yeah, I'll put you in next. No, this committee. Hi, Fred.
Guys, I mean, I can go later. I'm here to talk about also what Jonathan was talking about. I don't know if this is the right time, if you want to save it for, I heard this meeting was a review on the committee chairs tonight. Is that true?
Yeah, we're going to have a committee chair check-in under ongoing business. So if you want to chime in that, that's fine too.
Yeah, that's fine.
In general, like this, actually just more public forum, but
yeah,
we're a member of this committee. I brought you on, but let me go to David Wheatley then.
I'll wait till later. Okay.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for unmuting me. And I had heard about this meeting, I think it was yesterday at the Toluca Lake Land Use Committee meeting that it was taking place. I was reminded by a friend that it's on for tonight. I've not seen the agenda, so I think I'm being invited to comment on the way the Land Use Committee is being run. And I'm a stakeholder in Toluca Lake. And I've been studying democracy for a long time, ever since we're a college government class. And it generally seems to me that, like a friend said, that there are natural leaders in groups. There are also natural power grabbers who take, and the takers never know when they're done. They just keep taking. The givers know when we're done, but the takers never do. And this is what we've got going in the Land Use Committee as they do their power grab between Colby and actually, I'm being encouraged not to personalize things. So I'm just going to say selected individuals on land use keep consolidating power unto themselves by Brown Act violations, not posting things in a timely or complete way, controlling the meeting and not laying out what the rules are at the beginning and changing them as they go along. This is totally, totally uncool. And I think it's going to be a really great comeuppance for when the opposition, which Her Majesty's loyal opposition like me, finally figures out beyond just talking during public comment what to do about this. Is this a city attorney matter? Is this the state attorney general? Is this a superior court thing? What does it really take to get this cleaned up? I don't really know. And I don't say that in a threatening way. It's just, I don't know. I've been working on this for a couple of years. Cahuenga Bloomfield flew through despite the conflicts of interest. It was considered without having any opposition at all. And there's this general attitude that the public is to be excluded using whatever means possible. This absolutely has to stop. Even in my mediocre government class, they talk about the balance of power between people who grab it through election or bogus elections or otherwise, or just by taking it through subterfuge, which is happening here, and the public, and all we basically have are votes and freedom of speech. And there were attempts last night to limit the freedom of speech at that meeting. This can't happen. So I don't know what the people on the screen are going to do about this. From what I've seen in the past, probably nothing. But the rest of us, I encourage all of us to keep speaking up. And sooner or later, we're going to figure out what it takes for you guys to pay attention to us and affirm that you represent the public and to do what we want. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Any other public comments? Don't see any. Hi, Tess. Hello, Tess.
Hi there. Yeah, I'll save my other comments for the agenda items. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay,
Okay,
I'll wait
great.
until you probably want to talk.
Well, no, I do have a couple of items that are not on the agenda. So my public comment comments are point of order. There a couple people were confused about the meeting start time because it says 6:30 at the top of the board meeting agenda, but it says call to order.
Right, that was well, it said 6:30 at the top of the agenda and 6:30 on all other postings.
Well, it
6
says,
o'clock. You're talking about on the left-hand side?
yeah, it says 6 o'clock meeting opening,
Right.
call to order.
I know that is a typo.
Okay,
But again, it was publicized at 6:30 p.m. publicly.
okay, great. Well, we need to just try to get it right. And the date on pages 2 and 3 is incorrect. It says January 9th instead of January 11th. So I just wanted to make sure that that's corrected, please. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Hold on, Tess. Let's see, page, let's see. Okay, thanks, Tess. Moving on to board member news and announcements. Please step up if you have a board member news and announcements. If you don't, I have a couple. Catherine, Robin, okay. One thing that's important is Luis Oliart. You might remember him. He's working with the homeless situation over in Studio City. He's come on as a guest in our meetings in the past. He, as you received, I think by email, he sent us the services guide, which he put together for Studio City. And it's been helpful. It's a flow chart for if you encounter a homeless situation, encampment or something like that in your neighborhood, which, you know, if they do in Studio City frequently, like we do, it tells you who to contact based upon where that situation is, because it's such a patchwork of jurisdiction, whether it be CHP, Caltrans, et cetera. So what he's done is he created this great little, kind of like a presentation or a flow chart. It's almost like a 311 situation where if you see graffiti, you call 311 on your app or on your phone, and you get it taken care of or you know, addressed. And he gave us a soft version of that presentation, that services guide, which he suggested, which I want to do. We'll adapt for Toluca Lake, Greater Toluca Lake neighborhood. So I'm just asking the board to reach out to other board members and even the stakeholders to get thoughts on how to distribute this, and outreach, I guess, will obviously be involved with this, the services guide, and adapt it to Toluca Lake, Greater Toluca Lake. Also calling as usual, like I do every week, every meeting, call for NPGs. We have one come in and we'll talk about it later. I'm very excited about that. The call for NPGs, neighborhood purpose grants. Please bring those to us. Also, the 10057 Riverside Drive project is seems to be reactive. It seemed to be kind of quiet for a long time. Now it's been reactivated. I get a lot of calls about the notice on that building site regarding Gtlnc's proposed alcohol license. I've gotten a few calls about that, and I got a call from Michael Paco, who is the owner of Red Door in Riverside. He's going to be joining us in a meeting next week, just as a guest to talk about that project and its impact he believes on the neighborhood. And I would like to, down the road discuss. I think Jonathan had a good idea at a past meeting about the CIS regarding the increase in crime. I think we need to organize and bring this to the attention of City Council. Of course, they're aware of this, but some sort of organized fashion to document and document what we're going through here. Anyway, those are my board member news and announcements. If we don't have any other ones, we'll move on to minutes and agendas. Okay, Robin, you want to take it away?
Sure. Motion A to approve the Gtlnc November 9th, 2021 executive minutes. Do I have a first?
Arthur.
Thank you, Arthur. Do I have a second?
I'll second that one.
Thank you, Colby. Any discussion on the minutes?
I don't see it.
None, hearing none, motion carries 4-0-0. Okay, and next, motion B to approve the Gtlnc November 16, 2021 General Board Agenda. Do I have a first?
Catherine first.
Thank you, Catherine. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Arthur.
Oh, go ahead, Arthur. You guys.
Okay, Arthur, second. Thank you. Any discussion on the general board draft?
Do we have outreach committee bullet points yet?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Yes, he.
I see Jonathan Gregory's hand is.
I've reached out to Nick and Paige, and I have not received a response.
Okay. And for the NPG that was mentioned, is that going to be added to the
Yes.
agenda to be voted on?
We will be adding the East Valley Pals. I have it right here. I will attach that to the documents, and that will be added, correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
I see Jonathan has his hand raised. Hi, Jonathan.
Just so you know, I tend to mute myself in case my dog barks. Okay. On this agenda, I didn't understand that you're approving the agenda for the general board meeting. Now I understand this, why it's been posted on this meeting. I looked at it and I'm particularly struck by the lack of creativity on the agenda items. What I mean by that is I don't see any discussion on that for the plans, and I don't see them in this committee meeting either. For the planning, for setting goals and measuring progress toward your goals, like any business does, like any organization does, for the new year. That would be 2022. I don't see anything formulating. We've got two committees that are pretty much wound up around themselves, the Plum Committee and the Outreach Committee. And without having goals and progress checks toward the goal, it's kind of alienating. It is alienating toward the stakeholders. So you're really not meeting an expectation of any organization by not addressing it. It's not on the agenda. And let's see, there was something else. I don't see the unpaid vendor issue. Where is that going to get discussed? It's not on this agenda, where it could be handled more discreetly, perhaps, than in the general meeting. It's still not being discussed. It's not transparently being handled. Has it been resolved? It's got to be on an agenda somewhere. I don't know where you plan to put it. In environmental issues, it's not on the agenda. It's a problem, and it's not on the agenda. Where is it? Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Anyone else?
Any other public comment? I don't
Okay.
see any.
Seeing none,
On that note, I think it might be worthwhile to change the wording of the budget review line under the executive committee, which of course is also one of the things on tonight's agenda. Just to clarify that this is in fact a review of where we stand financially thus far in this term.
what do you
So-
want to change it to, Catherine?
Review of fiscal year 2022 budget and current financial status.
Okay. Colby, you have a problem with that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And
That was
we'll be
what I would
discussing TYS tonight also.
That is, yeah, and that would be part of this budget review. If you look at the budget document that Arthur put together, you can see clearly that there's a expectation that the bulk of that money, $2,400, will end up being paid in February, hopefully. So yeah, I just want to flag that we are attentive to that issue. It is on the budget spreadsheet.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I will add that wording to the general board agenda that Catherine gave me. Any other?
No, I don't see anything.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none, motion carries 400.
Okay. Next up is
Arthur,
treasurer reports. Arthur, let me give you screen shareability here.
Okay.
I think you're muted also.
no, I can hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
I'll be louder.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So we have two MERs, the November MER and the December MER.
okay, start with motion C
Oh, so sorry.
and second, no worries.
Motion C, approve the November 2021 MER and expenditures for reconciliation submission to the city clerk. Do we have a first?
Robin,
A second?
Catherine.
thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Okay,
So we had finished October with $28,100. We had operating expenses of $272. That includes $150 for the Toluca Lake mailbox, as well as MailChimp and then our Google invoice. Google was $96, and then MailChimp was $26. We had also processed Apple One invoices totaling $1,473.96, and those were two separate invoices. So we had an ending balance of $26,360. Do we have any questions or comments on November?
no,
Public comment. I see Tess has her hand raised. Let me go over to this other screen. Hi, Tess.
Hi there. Thank you, guys. Does this payment, Arthur, for Apple One, I think $1,500, is that, am I reading that correctly? Is that about the same as we've paid Lisa in the past months, or is this a reduced fee? I haven't run a comparison.
Oh, it's these. When you say reduced fee, I don't think her rate went down, if that's what
Okay.
you're asking.
Well, I think we were planning
But I
to,
would have to-
we were going to use her less, or there were some savings initiatives discussed. I just don't know what that amount is relative to past months. But
Arthur, can I clarify? This was a payment made in November of this year,
Okay.
correct? So it would predate any of the discussions about her stepping away.
well,
Like the stepping away started, I believe, either late October or in November. So this bill would have been for October services. Arthur, do you know what service period this bill covers?
I would have to pull that up. Hold on. So this is services in October.
okay. Okay, so let's see, Apple One, and this is for Lisa, right? Lisa Cahan.
yes, this is payment for her.
Okay, but the invoice said 800 and something. Did I miss something?
So there were two invoices. I'll go back to it. So there was, now I'm looking at the screen. There was an invoice for $614.
Okay,
Right?
okay,
Covering October services.
all right.
And there was an invoice for $800.
Okay, okay, they both look the same to me, all right.
Right. So, Tess, maybe I can show you how to do this.
Okay,
But all these invoices and all that kind of stuff, the credit card receipts are on the city clerk's website, and they're actually
Okay.
open to the public.
okay,
You can actually log on to the website and pull up the board vote count forms. The
oh yeah,
invoice-
I'm aware of that, and
Okay.
I'm just asking, relative to past months? Is this about the same? But if Catherine is correct, then the discussion about reducing her hours or what have you would not have taken effect until a later billing period. But I'll just go back and look at them and compare. So
And
Thank you.
Tess, just an FYI, her hours were not pulled back. The newsletter is still being worked on every week.
okay,
The amount of time that it takes her to do the newsletter is approximately, I'm sure, the same. And if and any social media posts, like if something has to be done immediately, because we can't wait until Thursday for the newsletter, she is also doing that. So nothing has changed in any way, other than the fact that the outreach committee was requested to please submit any and all forms of social media and newsletter postings. At this time, not one item has been sent to Lisa for this. So at this moment in time, with my help, Lisa is still doing 100% of the newsletter outreach.
so let me understand you correctly. Nobody has sent anything to Lisa to be posted?
The outreach committee was asked, in order to save Lisa hours
Okay,
on the newsletter, it was suggested by Lisa in a meeting with Nick that, because I don't remember if Paige was there at that time. She might have
She was on maternity leave.
been. She might have been, but it was requested that they create a calendar for certain items to be put into the newsletter. Sorry. And also come up with items to put in the newsletter. And not one item has been sent. The only person who has sent anything is you, Tess. And you've been quite great at it. You've sent various items for the community that we have included in the newsletter, but no other committee, and especially the outreach committee, who is supposed to sort of take up some of the expense by the amount of time that Lisa would have to put into creating content. It was never done. So
Okay.
unless somebody is creating any content, the work is being done by Lisa.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I see Jonathan has his hand raised.
Arthur, just a quick question on this November mirror. If I look at the column on your spreadsheet, November 21, it totals 1746. That's what the mirror is for, right? Am I following this?
So yes, that's exactly right. That 1746 is, I mean, this is rounding. So this 0.3 is actually 271.99. And then the 1.5 is 1473.96. And together it's $1745.95. That is correct.
Right, in a general sense. So in other words, if we look at the spreadsheet, we can see what's inside the mirror. I mean, for me personally, I would just, is this your creation? Did you make this spreadsheet?
Well, it wasn't my creation per se, but the neighborhood council was using it before me, and we just continue using it.
Okay, because I like to print columns out, and if we are doing an approval of a mirror, I'm just wondering, how can stakeholders even begin to understand this? And just printing out that column with the, I don't think you call headers, what do you call a row, the name of it, that tells us what's in the mirror. And you don't have to, I mean, it makes it easier to understand what's being spoken about. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other discussion? I don't see any. Okay, I guess we can go ahead. Robin or Arthur?
Any other questions or concerns? If not, we're going to take a vote. Colby,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Arthur,
Yes.
Robin, I'm a yes. Nick is excused. Motion carries 400. Let's go to motion D.
Okay, motion D. Approve the December 2021 MERN expenditures for reconciliation submission to the city clerk. Do we have a first?
Colby,
A second?
Robin,
Okay. So for December, we had ended November at $26,360. We had spent $122 in operating expenses, which include Google of $96, MailChimp of $25.99. And so we end December at 26.3. And I guess, do we have any questions here?
Jonathan,
Thank you, Arthur. So the total MER is for approximately $122 for this month. Is that right?
$121.99.
Okay, I got it. And before I leave, I'll just ask this question now to make it efficient. At what point in this discussion do we address February? Thank you.
We will address February, I guess, in after we kind of, I'll go over the spreadsheet and we can talk
Okay.
about the rest of it.
Thanks.
So,
okay, I don't see any other
okay,
requests for comments. Anyone else?
take a vote. Colby,
Yes,
Catherine,
Yes.
Arthur,
yes.
Robin, yes, and Nick is excused. Motion carries 400. All right,
thank you, Arthur.
Okay. I guess I'll pull up that budget file. Seconds. Here we go. Okay. I don't know if that's big enough for everyone. But this is our Gtlnc budget that we had approved at the beginning of the year. July, as Jonathan had alluded to, July through December are actuals off of the actual MERS. One thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, and I guess as we're kind of heading, we've passed the halfway point in our fiscal year, and we do have, some monies scheduled for the outer months, like Earth Day. And right now we're trending at, based on everything scheduled as is, we're trending, towards our budget of $32,000. But I don't know the likelihood of all these items. And so one, it's a discussion of, how would we like to, I guess, close out the year? I actually don't know if Earth Day is going to happen and how would we kind of repurpose these monies. And I know there's no motion on the agenda, but I guess we can have a resubmission of our budget, reallocating a lot of the monies for the second half of the year to, I just don't want to see a lot of these monies kind of swept back to the city. So one, just think about how we can repurpose some of these funds given our current, virtual environment.
That's my theme recently is I don't say we have a surplus, but we do seem to have more money than normal.
And I don't believe that there are any in-person of any kind meetings. So there will not be an Earth Day. That is my understanding.
So
Yeah, so Arthur, can you speak a little bit to what you just said about resubmitting the budget? Because right now the budget that gets officially submitted is a very top line. So it's just like 6,000 for NPGs, and apologies for the motorcycle, 6,000 for NPGs and 26,000 for basically all other expenditures. If we were to, submit NPGs in excess of that 6,000, would we get those kicked back to us? Would there be an issue?
Well, no, if we have a specific motion for an NPG that's not in our budget, they'll process that NPG. I mean, I would view this budget as kind of like a guiding document. And that way we can kind of come together and say, hey, Earth Day's not happening. How would we like to allocate these funds? And a resubmission of the budget, we would change all our budget lines. I guess those 3 lines that we submit to the city, but all these individual line items would change as well. And then we would know that, Earth Day is not happening. And, let's say we were going to have more NPGs, we could, have a known, budget for the remainder of the year and kind of work towards that.
And how long do you think it'll take to get those new lines approved by the city?
I beg your pardon?
I mean, how long do you think it'll take to get that new budget or those budgets?
All we would have to do is just have a motion on our agenda.
Okay, so we don't need, it's not a long process.
No, we just need a motion, and then we would just submit that and then change the budget in their system.
Okay. I see David Wheatley.
Thanks, Colby. I'd like to say how terrific this is. Partly to let you know, I just don't always unmute myself just to complain about things. I think this is really, really nice. I'm wondering if for the Earth Day event, I think I heard somebody say it may not take place this year, and that these are top line numbers are submitted to the city and they say fine, so there's a lot of latitude. I'm wondering if some what the other fellow talked about in terms of creativity could be applied, that each of these events are constructed and conceptualized as being face-to-face and also digital. Let's say, or digital, or maybe both. And also I'm wondering with things like a lot of people look at these kinds of things, they say, well, how do we get these numbers down? My attitude is usually, how do we get these numbers up? What more can we be doing using these funds to leverage the cool ideas that Toluca Lake has to bring in people to help manifest them? And I'm wondering with the social media administration, if there's a contract or agreement that could be looked at in a supportive way with the vendor to see if we gave them more dough, what else they could be doing, and make sure to see if they're happy with the way things are coming along, and compare that with the vision and the mission statement for Greater Toluca Lake to see if we can get closer to that, and hopefully exceed it. 1,500 Toluca Lake Elementary, Rio Vista, 1,500. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but those funds could be also used for something else. So let's get really creative, like right about now, and see what else can be done with this money to make Toluca Lake the most awesome place on earth. Thanks.
Thanks, David. And I see Jonathan.
Thank you. I'm hearing the idea of more NPGs. Of course, an NPG, neighborhood purpose grant, for anyone who listens to this later and doesn't know what you're talking about, because that was my position earlier. In any case, I encourage you, like this other person just said, be creative. I've heard it constantly avoided, rather when the question is raised, how many people have subscribed to the newsletter? No one will say, and yet people have said we have that information, but no one will say it. That tells me it's an extraordinarily low number of subscribers. Therefore, in every regard, the mandate of the neighborhood council is to first grow itself and make itself important to stakeholders. I encourage you to look at a mass mailing. I don't think there's enough money in 1 year, but you could do portions, you could be creative and use a mass mailing to raise the consciousness of the stakeholders on what's going on and how the neighborhood council serves them. There are way too many people who don't even know about it or who have been left out because it's been so internet oriented. Everyone is not fluent on the internet. In fact, we weren't either when we started these Zooms, as we've all seen each other trip and fall. So in any case, I encourage you to take a close look before you start doling out money. Self-preservation might come up as a mass mailing is a very, very effective way of having impact when people aren't noticing. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Can I say something, Colby?
Yeah, go ahead, Robin.
Thank you, Jonathan, for bringing that up in ways to engage the community. That is always something we are striving to do. It was suggested at the outreach meeting that they reach out to the community in other ways other than the newsletter. Of course, that only goes so far. So it was suggested to the outreach committee to please be present at all the community events, such as the Turkey Trot, which was in November, or the Harvest Festival, which was in October, or the Toluca Lake Open House, which was in December, all of which were incredible ways to reach out to the community. The outreach committee, one of the members was out on leave, and the other member was given this opportunity to do so, and I haven't heard whether any of that was done, but yes, these suggestions are great. Mass mailings, again, this would be done through the outreach committee. So yes, we appreciate these suggestions. We have offered these suggestions, and we just need to find a way to get the outreach committee to engage.
And I do like the ideas. That's what I'm going to finish up the meeting with, asking for ideas. David, I see your hand raised. We got you already, but I'll keep it real short. David?
Great, thank you. I'm a spreadsheet geek, so I totally love seeing this. I'm wondering if there might be a way to have the next fiscal year prepared so that we could alternate back and forth and end up with a 18-month business plan, where some of these numbers get taken from here and just transposed, put over there and toggle back and forth. As far as the NPGs, I'm wondering if there can be 3 or 4 more lines to open us up to the possibility of other NPG applications coming in to make this maybe more visionary and expansive. And also wherever there's a 0 in something like mailers and flyers, food and beverage, maybe let's at least put something in there, even if it's just $1, to make room for in our minds conceptually that something cool is going to happen in there. And thanks for letting me have seconds.
Thanks, Dave. No, I'm proactive. I'm emailing local nonprofits. I'm approaching storefronts. We're waiting for an MPG from the Cancer Society. I reached out to PALS. PALS responded very quickly. We're going to discuss that later or the next meeting. And I also spoke with Rio Vista's principal today. They're going to resubmit their NPG that was incorrectly submitted a few months ago. Again, I'm just please bring me your ideas, NPGs and other things. All right, we got to move on.
Okay.
Arthur, is there any more discussion on this?
That's it. So.
Okay. Thank you, Arthur. We'll go to ongoing business. Redistricting, yes, we are now in CD2. Jonathan, can you wait until is this regarding Arthur's? No, this is regarding ongoing business, or is this the previous?
No, it's Arthur. Remember, we're going to talk a little bit about February. I'll make it real quick. My question on February is, since the money is hitting for TYS, QIG, whatever they are. I thought the money was already taken from the neighborhood council and it was stuck in the city. And explain it to us why we went a year and the money is still in our budget. In other words, we still have the money. It never went anywhere. What happened? Why did this happen? Are you understand my question, Arthur? Perhaps I asked it poorly.
Well, we had an approved an amount for all these line items, and I guess.
Arthur, can I rephrase? I think maybe the question should be split into two. There's the amount that was previously approved, and as of, I think, the November meeting, you said you thought there had been a check cut by the city that had not gone to TYS. And then there are additional amounts of money that we have owed TYS in the interceding months. Correct?
So right. And so the best way to phrase this is, because this happened at the city level, once the city is happy with I guess, this new service agreement, then they will resolve it at the city level. Do you understand that?
My question here is, since the money's been in our account all along, apparently, because now it's being deducted in February, wouldn't we have been aware of it or no?
So that deduction in February is, those things haven't happened yet, right? So it's essentially saying invoices are going to be processed. So essentially, just think about it as we're getting caught up. Does that make sense? This would be getting caught up through services through December 31st.
We're talking about $2,400 to TYS in February?
I put $2,400 in there for February, but probably what's going to happen is $3,000 in January. We had paid them through June 15th, 2021 through the last invoice. And so the service period that remains to be processed is from July 1st to December 31st. And that's $1,500 a quarter. And earlier today, I had asked TYS for those invoices. So even though I wrote $2,400, I was trying to keep the budget. The budget for the hosting is $3,600 for the year. And as I was populating this line item, I wanted the end of the year total to be $3,600. So that $2,400 is a balancing entry to make the spreadsheet work, but it really should be $3,000.
Okay, and I understand now. This becomes important because this we're operating under the understanding that this vendor had not been paid in a year, and what you just said was this vendor was paid through July or June. Is that correct?
That is what yes, I confirmed with the city, and I've reached out to the vendor, and I'm getting everything squared away, yes.
Okay, so this vendor has stopped performing based on 3 months of non-payment? Because they stopped performing someplace in October, if I understood it correctly.
So
The vendor is not performing. The vendor has answered our emails and assisted us with updating, for example, 2022 on the website, because that had to be changed. So it's not that they're not engaging. They are. It's just that they're not going above and beyond until they get paid.
Paid for months subsequent to July. Is that correct? So we're talking about not a year of non-payment. We're only talking about a few months, and they,
Arthur, can you clarify, was there also a delay in their receipt of that payment through June? My understanding was that them receiving that payment was also delayed.
Yes, and it's really, that was also the case, and I am looking forward to getting all this stuff buttoned up. That's probably the best way I can say it.
does anyone have information on where does this neighborhood council go forward regarding this particular vendor? I mean, I don't know when we're going to be talking about it. If not now, I don't mean to slow it up a little bit, but there's a problem. The vendor is evidently not doing what we need it to be doing. Leave it at that. What happens next?
There was a delay in the payment, as we understand. The vendor, the amount we pay is a lot of money, but that amount includes modifications, fairly structural modifications to the website, and a lot of flexibility for us to change the website on the fly. When the vendor wasn't being paid, and I have been told by the vendor it was a year, they have been doing structural. We have big plans for the website to change a lot of things, which would cost a good amount of money, which is included in the plan that we want to go forward with them. Since they have not been paid, they, in good faith, they believe that we will be working with them in the future. So they've been going on and making modifications as we go. For instance, they've changed the address, to our box number, and other small modifications here and there. So, but there was, from what I understand, a miscommunication up at the city level, above Arthur's head.
So,
and that,
Jonathan, I guess what I'd like to say is the city is saying one thing, right? And then the vendor is saying another thing. And obviously there's a trail for all these payments. And it's about lining everything up and seeing where the gaps are. And so, and it could be on DYS's side, it could be on the city side. The city has said, they're good up to a point. The vendor is saying something else. So it's just aligning everything up and probably getting a lot of people that are in the background that process all these things to just say, on this date, this happened, on that date, that happened, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you. Robin, is it your responsibility to be posting the supporting documents for the meetings? And is this a reason you've mentioned that because of the problems on the website, meetings are not being properly posted? Is this connected, or can you begin to post? I'm not holding you accountable for when a chairperson doesn't prepare the meeting notes or meeting minutes. Can you post? Are you able to post or notice everything that you need to? Because we have no 2022 on the website. So how are we going to manage posting necessary disclosures or notifications of meetings and minutes?
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. So how the process works is, as secretary, each committee every week, or I shouldn't say every week, the week before prior to their meeting, they are supposed to send the secretary their agenda, their past minutes, and any documents that are required for posting for that upcoming meeting. Those documents and agenda are forwarded on to Lisa. Lisa then sends me an email stating that she posts all of these documents to the website. Sometimes I check, sometimes I don't. I just usually rely on her email confirming that she has done this. And usually closer to the meetings, the chairperson is supposed to check to make sure that those documents are on the website. Now, as far as the 2022, you know, it's January. We are all coming around to each of the meetings. I just, under public safety, under exec, and now under general board, created files for 2022. So they are being updated, but it's a process. Everybody has to take care of their own committee and their own agendas. So all I am is the liaison to getting those to the newsletter, to then she posts on the website. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. But I have to tell you, without Lisa, I couldn't do my job, because she holds me accountable for everything. If something's missing, if something is not looking right on the website, she is the eyes. That's what we're paying for. And Lisa's doing a phenomenal job. And I don't think she gets enough credit for the amount of work that she does.
Here I'm interested in making sure that everything's properly posted, and it's not happening. So I'm understanding that you're saying every committee chair has a responsibility to give to you the meeting minute, whatever it is that needs to be posted.
Yes.
Are you keeping a spreadsheet of all of these meetings that are, not a spreadsheet, a record of all of these meetings that are occurring, so you know when you're not receiving something?
I know, like, I didn't receive the bullet points for the general board agenda from the outreach committee. That's why it says to be determined. So
I don't mean parts of a thing. I'm talking about minutes. When a meet, for example, last night the Plum meeting happened. There were minutes that were never posted from the previous meeting, or that were draft minutes that were never posted, and they were never submitted by Rain, the chair. So the question here is, did you know, do you have a system down that you can see you haven't received what is due in a timely way? Because if I were you, I would be posting a sheet of paper that it's not received from the chair, and I would be naming the chair. Rather than, it looks like you're not posting things. That's how it looks to the public. And you're telling me that, and I believe you, that chairs are not giving you what they're responsible to give you, and therefore it doesn't get posted. But it looks like you're not posting things, and I would post a sheet of paper where something is supposed to be posted that it is not yet received. You know, it's due. It looks like no one's tending the matter, and it's such an important matter for disclosure, for the Brown Act, for posting. We're having meetings where people can't look at documents. Thank you. I don't want to drag it out
I
anymore.
understand the importance of this, but we are getting pretty long on public comment.
I just said thank you. I don't want to drag it out any more than that. Made my point.
Real quick, I see David Wheatley. David, do you have something really quick to say, to add, or?
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is a matter of harnessing the power of the calendar. Maybe people are doing this, like, because these are what I call internal deadlines, and where certain, deadlines need to be met. And I'm wondering if there's a way, maybe this is happening already, if something is due on a Thursday, that they get an email, automated or other ways, on Monday, and they have to turn it in Tuesday, not Thursday. There's no time when it's Thursday to fix it if they do a bad job, so that they can have a chance to fix something during those 2 days.
Okay.
I want to put that in the meeting.
First of all,
Every week,
this
they-
is not about the treasurer's report, which we are still on. And all I can do is reach out to people, and hopefully they respond. I mean, I can reach out by emailing, and if people do not respond to me, I make a note, like for outreach, I put to be determined, because I didn't get in bullet points. So all we can do is hopefully everybody does their part. And, sometimes people have things that they are going through and they can't get it done. And we just, take note and move on. But, every month is not going to be perfect. There are going to be little things that we drop once in a while, but we try to do our best.
All right, we should move on. All right, thank you, Arthur. And thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. That was a great report.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, David. We're moving on to ongoing business. I reached out to or I was introduced to Corian's office the other day, CD2, in which we are now a part. I invited them to our general board meeting next week. I hope they attend to meet all of us and our stakeholders. And let's see, 2020-2022 budget review, NPGs. I think we kind of covered this already. Again, like I said before, I'm reaching out directly to nonprofits in our area. We have a PALS NPG coming up. We're going to discuss and hopefully vote on next general board meeting. Rio Vista is going to submit an NPG. They want outdoor tables for their playground. Also, I've reached out to the American Cancer Society, which runs a discovery shop, a nonprofit, right in the heart of Toluca Lake. Seeing maybe we can contribute there, possibly to. They have an awning over the front door, a large awning with graphics on it, which is ripped and dirty. Maybe it would be an interesting donation to invest in a new awning for them, and maybe even put some Gtlnc branding on that awning, since it's near our bulletin board, which is on that same building. And maybe it could direct people, that branding could direct people to that bulletin board and get more community involvement, engagement through that way. That bulletin board is sort of a black hole. A lot of people don't know it's there. We've discussed with last administration to try to do something with it to attract attention, but with lighting and electricity, but it's more complicated and expensive than it sounds. Let me see. Yeah, so just as we all discussed before, general ideas on the budget and how to spend this money the best way possible and make Toluca Lake even better and greater Toluca Lake even better. I was here, we were dark in December, and I have here committee chair check-in. Robin, you want to talk about, our
Sure. So
about public safety? We had,
just very quickly before we dive into that, I see Fred's hand is up. I don't know if it is about any of the other items from this section or if it's related to the committee chair part.
Hi, Fred.
Hey, it's related to the committee chair, so just let me know when you want me to talk.
Okay.
Great, thank you, Fred.
And David, I'm assuming yours is the vice chair too. Okay, let me check. David, hi, is this a committee chair or is this about something else?
I can't tell, but maybe I can tell you briefly what it is, and then you can tell me what it pertains to. I would love to hear somebody say, this is the vision we have for Toluca Lake, and then give it to us in 20 words, 30 words, 50 words, maybe at the beginning of each meeting or even right now, so we can compare what we're doing with what we hope to do.
Well, in order to get to that vision, I don't want to make the vision up. I want people you and other stakeholders to come to me with your visions. Give me 1 or 2 or 3 ideas you have. And that's what I want to hear. I don't, it's not up to me to, obviously you want to hear it from us, but I bounce it back to you, David, and other stakeholders to give me your vision. I've heard you tonight, and I want to hear more specific ideas. Again, hope that answers your question. Let's see. Okay, go ahead, Robin.
Okay, so basically, when we added this item to the agenda, it was basically for us to say to the each committee chair, how do you see the next several months in your committee? What do you see? What do you need help with? Are you doing okay? It was really just to check in to see, I heard tonight that Plum is still very awkward and they're not efficient. So maybe that's what we need to talk about. That might be a good place to determine how the best way to proceed with Plum. I know with public safety, we've had actually really great meetings. We've had some wonderful speakers. And we are dealing with crime in Toluca Lake and homeless issues in Toluca Lake. So I think public safety, continues to try to keep the community safe. We get the crime report, the crime stat out to the community. We have Officer Delbar come and speak from LAPD. And it's always the same request. Please don't keep anything in your car, lock your cars, because it's mostly about opportunity and more lighting. Lighting actually works better than cameras. Cameras are great after the effect, but if you have lots of lighting around your property, because burglars like dark shadows.
And that's
So-
one thing we did discuss at the meeting when we had this idea. Again, I think David or Jonathan, you're saying, think out of the box. I like that. If there could be a way where we could financially contribute to creating more lighting in certain areas. We had a horrible murder. I mean, every murder is horrible, but especially horrible murder.
Stabbing. It was a stabbing.
And I think if that area were lit, I don't know. I just want to look into lighting. And Robin, wasn't there an area that was
Yes.
that received lighting a few years ago when the crime dropped
Yes.
significantly?
There was a pathway that is, if you go up Cahuenga north and you go under the 134 freeway, just to the left between the freeway, there's a small walkway that only pedestrians can get to the other neighborhood that's beyond, just to the west of Cahuenga. And they were having issues with prostitution, drugs, homeless, people sleeping, lots of issues. And through public safety, through David Rue, and through Universal, I believe it was 17 or 70,000, don't quote me on price, Universal gave to the city, and the city installed lighting down that pathway. So thanks to the grant from Universal and the city's help, this was done, because I was there for the lighting of the pathway. And I haven't heard of any crime or any issues with that area since they installed lighting. So there are ways to reach out to the community to get help and grants and sponsors. So we just have to be creative, because that 32,000 sounds like a lot of money to write one check, but it really doesn't. That lighting takes a lot, because you've got to hook it up to the city. It's just extremely expensive. So if more public areas, maybe we could talk to the business owners. We just need more lighting. Lighting is so important.
And it might have saved a life if that area in Sarah were better lit.
Mhm.
Catherine or Arthur? Nothing? Anything else? No? Okay. I see Fred Berry has hand raised a while. Hi, Fred.
Hey guys, great to be a part of your meeting. I must say, this is a breath of fresh air watching you guys. You're so organized, and I just wish our committee could be like yours. You just have run it so smoothly, and Colby, you're such a pro, and Robin and Arthur, I just want to give you props for how you're conducting this meeting, and I wish ours was like that. And so I'm just going to go into, I'll keep it under 3 minutes. With Ren, what's going on here? There's so many things that's wrong with our committee. I'm so disheartened by it. And I'll just start at the top on the list that I made. And, he takes it upon himself to set these agenda items. He does not answer to stakeholders' questions. He can't get names spelled properly. He leaves committee members off the agenda. He can't operate the Zoom meetings. He's failed to post minutes. He had a snafu in scheduling the special meeting for Brandon. He doesn't even live in the neighborhood. Every single meeting has been like this for 6 months. I don't know how much longer this can go on for. Colby, it's kind of starting to make you look bad by letting this go on. Ren's leadership is terrible. There's no communication. He never responds to emails to other board members. He's never, ever responded to any of my emails for 6 months. One of the last meeting, he mentioned that there's an issue on Camarillo, this house that wants to build a wall. He said he went to go knock on the doors a couple times to talk about it. If someone did that to me, I'd immediately take a defensive position. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish by doing that. The meetings, should be productive. They should be happy. They should be fun, but they're not. And I'm really getting tired of doing this. We're all very busy. We donate our time, and I don't know how much longer I can take this. And I just want to know if there's any plan to change this leadership or not. Thanks so much, you guys. And again, congratulations on your meeting. I hope our Plum committee changes. Please, I beg you. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Yeah, I'd like to address part of that. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think that the case numbers should be printed on the agendas. A stakeholder, I think Jonathan had a great suggestion. I don't know if that was Jonathan, someone else, not even Jonathan, which I don't know if it can be implemented, but if the plans could somehow be on the website, and that can't be this website, but a plan for, or the plans for proposed buildings and projects. But maybe I guess an easier or simplified idea would just to have the links available so people can click on a link and take them to Zemus with the city. That might be more applicable. Like for instance, today I received plans for that car wash, that proposed car wash that was talked about briefly last night. And the files like this thick, and for us to scan that in and process that through our website would be difficult at best. Let's see. Also, I've spoken to Ren and just reminded him, and I think he's going to follow through with this, to stop and pause for public comment after each item that's appropriate to do so. And also, the reason Matt Kamen was on the meeting last night, and I applaud him for doing this, is he's going to help Ren be more organized with agendas and things behind the meeting, before the meetings, and help Ren get more accustomed with Zoom, because that's a stumbling block, and it's very difficult. Well, it's actually very difficult to run a meeting and do Zoom at the same time. And I think Catherine and I spoke about this earlier today, is that when Zoom first became pretty much mandatory for these meetings, the city recommended that there be one person who just manages Zoom, and in addition to the chair or co-chair. So it's really difficult to do Zoom, to look for the hands up, and think about decisions, like important decisions that we all have to make. So, but thank you, Fred. I just wanted to address this. It's an ongoing issue.
You're very good at it, Colby, and I admire you for doing that.
Thank you for your service, and
but
thank you to the board members also.
The last thing I just would like to say is that, and thank you for explaining that, but with Ren's leadership, everyone's so unmotivated. It's like nobody wants to do anything and nothing's getting done. And if that continues, I just feel this Plum committee is not going to get anything accomplished. It's all going to fall apart. But anyway, that's just what I want to say. And thanks for your time.
Thanks, Fred. Let's see where we're, I'm losing, let's see, we have a lot of hands raised. If we can keep it very, very short, I think we're beyond limits. I don't know who's first, but I see at the top of the list, Jonathan.
Well, thank you. I just listened to what Fred said. What Fred said is absolutely right about this committee. Rain, the chair, it's a mismatch. I've already brought it to your attention in writing months ago, and it just continues. It's beyond the apology level now. This is a compromising situation for the neighborhood council. There are people who come into this committee from the outside with applications, one of which was the future condominium complex there. And he talks, the whole committee looks like a bunch of idiots in front of people coming in because of what's going on. There's no organization. It's too late. You need to pick a new chair. It's not sufficient that you bring in one of the least contributing, and someone who's contributed absolutely nothing for 6 months, Matt Kamen, as a remedy for this. It's beyond, it's simply beyond any answer. That you need a competent committee chair, someone who can get something to Robin to post in a timely way, who can write coherently, so that this is a committee of high dollar value and high visual value to the neighborhood council. And it looks like one of the worst I've ever seen in any neighborhood council. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jonathan. And last up, I see David.
Don't forget Brandon Colby. He was in front of David.
Okay.
You want Brandon to go first? I can go
Okay,
second.
David.
Okay, thanks. This pertains to all the committee reports for this agenda item. I've just been challenged to write my own mission statement, which I believe will apply to everybody in all these committees. Toluca Lake is a community of enthusiastic and talented people, of beautiful homes, of enterprising local merchants, with an emphasis on the preservation and protection of its traditions. That's what I got for you.
I like that. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. You're good. You did that right now, off the cuff.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Okay, Brandon Whalen. Hi, Brandon.
Hi there. Well, I'm going to bring it back down. Sorry. I concur with Fred's comments. Yeah, I've been on the committee for a year and a half now, partially with Bob as chair, and then the rest being Ren. And we haven't accomplished anything in the last 6 months. The lack of communication is very difficult. The committee and his leadership is unfortunately just not collaborative. Every time, I'm not an elected board member, as you all know, and my volunteer time for just this committee, I dread every second Monday of the month. And it's very embarrassing. It's very frustrating. I want to quit this committee, but I'm going to continue to, because I want to help. And I think I've suggested things that are helpful. In fact, the thing that you just mentioned about having plans and such on the website I said that. I think another board member needs to be appointed. It's really embarrassing. And I really don't want to hear another apology. I don't want to hear another we're all volunteers. Something needs to be done. And thank you for this agenda item, but we just, yeah. Thank you, Fred, for your comments.
Thank you, Brandon. And I see Tess. Hi, Tess.
Hi, Colby. Thank you. You and I met about this before Thanksgiving, and I was quite emphatic in my comments, which I made privately then. And I have no wish to embarrass anybody publicly, but everything you've heard is true, and we've gotten nothing done. And I too dread these meetings. I think that having Matt help may be useful, but it's a Band-Aid at best, and it's not sufficient. So I highly recommend that a different board member be made committee chair, and I specifically exclude myself. This is not out of self-interest, but out of interest for the committee and the efficient running of the committee, and that things get done. As you may know, I volunteered to do agenda or meeting minutes for Ren, and his complaint was that they were too long and too detailed. And when I asked him to include the case numbers, he said it would take him too much time. This is not the attitude of a chair. This is a person who has accepted he's accepted the responsibility, and now he chooses not to fulfill it. There's no basis for that. And if time has become too pressing for him, if he has too many other obligations, then so be it. Let him step aside. Things happen, people's lives change, their obligations shift. That's fine. But I want to see this committee accomplish something. And as of now, that is not happening. And again, I underscore the fact that I had much of this conversation with you privately before this public meeting. So thank you for considering this.
Thank you, Tess. Anybody else?
I don't see anyone else.
Nope, I don't see anyone else.
Move on to new business.
We'll move on to new business. Any new business that we haven't discussed already?
Did you bring up the Riverside Drive? You did bring up
I
the
did it
Riverside
early
Drive
on. Yeah, we're gonna have
project.
Michael Paco come on.
Yes, you had suggested that we ask Michael, is that his name, Michael? The owner of Red Door, to come and speak to the board at next week's meeting. So Michael, as well as anyone from the CD2, whether it be the councilman or their deputy or somebody, some representative from that new district. And what was the other thing?
Let's see,
Was
Louise, we talked about Louise and
Louise,
the
yeah,
homeless
we
guy.
would still like to find somebody to lead the homeless plan that Louis Oliart instituted in Studio City. And because of him, we have really seen a huge cleanup in the homeless community under the underpasses. So
Oh, yes and no. Unfortunately, what's
well, it's moved.
they just get displaced and moved.
Yeah. But he is on the ground working religiously with these, trying to get things cleaned up. So we should probably listen to what he has to offer. And then MPGs. I know Colby's reached out to several nonprofits in our Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council. There are not many. There's a handful, and he has reached out to many of them. So hopefully we can get these MPGs in the queue before within the next 4 months, because basically within the next 4 months, if the money is not encumbered, the money will get swept back into the city. We will not see a dime of it, and we will lose it. So we want to hopefully, by reaching out to all these different organizations, that we'll be able to get some money encumbered, and we can do some good to this community. So if you hear of any, I know Tess had mentioned at one of the recent meetings that she was looking into one. So I'm hoping that we will hear by at least next week's meeting. We have the PALS one. That is a wonderful organization. They help the LAPD. And I know that the Toluca Lake Turkey Trot, the money that they raised went to PALS. So they need a lot of assistance, and with all the lack of funding in some of these city organizations, they could really use our help. So please, if you know of anybody, have them apply. The MPG link is on our website. I think that's it.
I see two hands. I saw Fred first. Hi, Fred.
Yeah, very quick new business. You've heard from a lot of the committee members tonight, and I just want to know, is there a way we can propose to replace Ren as the committee chair? What the procedure is? This is new to me, never done it before, but I beg you to explore this. And if we can put that on some sort of agenda or motion, I don't know what the procedure is, but can we do this? Can we put it in motion? Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Yes, Tess.
Hi, couple of quick questions. What is the deadline by which NPG ideas need to be submitted and then proposals? Because those are probably two different deadlines. They would have to be agendized, discussed, and voted on. So
That is correct.
okay,
And
so
like I said, we have in real numbers, we have about 4 months.
okay,
Real numbers.
is that 4 months to receive ideas or suggestions, or is that 4 months to receive suggestions, vote on them, and submit them?
Correct. We have 4 months, basically. Catherine, yes, you can
I
probably.
was gonna say, to clarify, no organization needs to be invited to apply. Any organization can apply. You don't have to run it by the GTLNC before an organization is allowed to apply for an NPG. So the deadline for us to vote on them, which would be passing them, would be at the May meeting, Arthur, is that correct?
That's correct. So the last day to submit invoices to the city is around, it's essentially like the last week in May. So it might be June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd, depending on how that last week kind of ends. So, but we have to have everything approved in our May meeting and processed during that last week.
And those that are not submitted and voted for by the committee, by the board before then, could miss the window. So realistically, that's why I say 4 months. Yes, you have a little leeway, but if for whatever reason the MPG comes in May and the board says, oh, we need more information, or we don't pass it, then it could miss the window completely.
Okay, so May I suggest that you put some deadlines in the newsletter so that it's not open-ended? Please, please apply by X date. I would suggest give people maybe a May, April, give them an end of March date, because that way it can be discussed at the April meeting. And if more information is needed or requested, we can have that in time for May. So just a suggestion, give people a deadline of March. There's some wiggle room there. I am Luis Oliart recommended a nonprofit. I'm actually talking to Mark Stevenson from the Plum Committee about that this Friday. I want to do some reconnaissance before, having them apply or.
That's wonderful, Tess.
And are you, there was a mention of the Discovery Shop as the Cancer Society, the American Cancer Society, possibly submitting an MPG. Are you still a volunteer there, Robin?
I am. I am.
Very good. Thank you for your volunteer work. And Colby, back to this topic of committee chair. Are we going to discuss that tonight, or is that going to be on a future agenda?
You mean Plum?
Yes. Hate to put you on the spot, but it's
No, I know.
kind of getting not
Yeah,
so good.
well, I'm open to discussing it at the general board meeting.
Okay.
It's not my place to shut anything down.
Well, but
I want to, so I'm open to, if you want to place that on the agenda and discuss it. I'm all for discussion, but that's, that's all I can agree to right now.
well, and I will also say, Colby, that, this is a smaller group and it's less, nobody has a wish to embarrass anybody. That's important. So I'm just suggesting that perhaps some discussion here would be more discreet, shall we say. That's all.
It's all public, and it's
Okay.
but since, there is so much concern, I'm okay with discussing this at the general board meeting. I'm sure it'll come up anyway.
Okay.
Let's see. Is that it, Tess?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan, I'm not sure who's next, but I see you're up here. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, thank you. Just a couple words about what people just said. Robin, when you were talking about getting the underpasses cleared out, I want to remember for, how do you say it? I want to recall for you that Nick, I believe, according to what I understood, I'm not a witness, Nick was very involved, and I've seen how passionate Nick expresses himself when he feels really strongly. So I have no doubt that Nick really helped us out a lot in talking to people about getting those underpasses cleared out, as well as all of the good work that Mr. Oliard is doing. But we can't overlook that one. The other thing I wanted to mention was having to do with NPGs, because we saw an NPG that was improperly completed and applied for. The standard of screening should be a common, it should be raised accordingly, meaning corporate numbers need to be reviewed for what there are requirements. Leave it at that. They have to be very carefully screened, not just casually. My last thing is, I heard Tess say she wants to be omitted from consideration of being that chair of the Plum Committee. And I think we as a neighborhood council should talk to Tess about that and ask her to reconsider. The reason I say that is I'm watching who gets things done, who's organized, who's accountable, who's polite. She's got the qualifications. I don't know why she doesn't want to do it, but she's very well presented in these meetings and prepared. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan. And last up, I see David.
I thank you. I share the concern of being respectful to Ren and of saving face. And I think if the fact that it's a public meeting and it's going to come up anyway does not relieve us of the burden and responsibility to treat a person who's been so devoted to the community for so long with great respect. Perhaps there's another title that he could take on to save face. Maybe we can give that some thought. Also, this other thing, I'm very, very touchy about this. While in the business community, it makes sense to reach out to groups that have applied for neighborhood purpose grants in the past, it really is a form of favoritism. You know, is this person still affiliated with this group? Oh, great. And they did it last year, or they withdrew theirs. Let's ask them again. I think we need to be sending a blanket invitation that everybody who could possibly be interested in applying for would be able to see. They don't get nudged by anybody. There's no favoritism. And also, I think there needs to be a restatement of that Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council does not discriminate in terms of employment, selection of grant recipients, beneficiaries of grants, those three areas, in the areas of gender, national origin, and all these usual categories needs to be spelled out. We need to be coming across as taxpayer money being used for the highest possible purpose in the fairest of ways. Thanks.
Thanks, David. And I'd love for you to write that up and send it to me, and so we can work with that.
And
please-
also
please
one
bring me a list. Please bring me a list of all those nonprofits that are out there in our area soon, the next week. You can go
But
through those.
also, Colby, you know, it's not just us looking for people to submit MPGs. You as the public is welcome to reach out to nonprofits in their area, in the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council. We are open to anyone who comes to us and asks, just as a few weeks ago, the YMCA came and spoke beautifully about their program. And we were delighted to be able to actually spend some money and help the community. So it isn't, there is no favoritism here. We have reached out numerous times. We've requested it, every exec, every committee, general board, and also through our newsletter and our social media. This is open, it's live. Anybody who's listening within earshot, please reach out to a nonprofit and ask them to apply.
Yeah, and I'm sure David will be helpful in bringing us more. It'd be great. It'd be very, very helpful, and will serve the community in the best way. Okay, any more comments, thoughts? Anyone? Okay, I think that wraps up new business, and I'm ready to call the meeting. Okay, it's 8:08.
What time is it?
8:08.
8:08. Sounds great.
And I will see everybody at the next exec. It's February 8th, but I'll see you sooner next week at our general board. Good
Thank
evening.
you, Colby. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good evening.